Hello, today I will be reading a selection of poems from the poetry book, Kids Pick the Funniest Poems. The first poem I'm going to read is called Clatter by Joyce Armour. If I should list my favorite words, they'd sound a lot like this. Rumble, crash, snort, jangle, thump, roar, fizzle, splat, moo, hiss. Not to mention gobble, clank, tweet, sputter, tick-tock, growl, crackle, chirp, boom, whistle, wheeze, squawk, jingle, quack, thud, howl. And then, of course, there's grunt, toot, cuckoo, thunder, bang, and mush, rattle, splash, rip, ding dong, and my parents' favorite, hush. The next poem I will be reading is Things I'm Not Good At by Jeff Moss. What a shame I'm not good at making my bed, or washing the dinner dishes. What a pity I'm awful at broccoli eating, and feeding my sister's fishes. So sad I've no talent for cleaning my room. All these jobs, it's so hard to get through them. If I tell you I'm no good at these things, maybe you won't ask me to do them. The next poem I will be reading is If I Were Ruler of the World. If I were ruler of the world, I'd make some changes fast. I'd say, the ruler's always first, his brother's last. The ruler's old sister would have to listen too. If I said, go and eat a bug, that's what she'd have to do. All dinners would be different then. You wouldn't have to finish peas or beans or broccoli or Brussels sprouts or spinach. I'd put an end to chores at home and all that parents said. There would be no more go and clean your room, wash up, go make your bed. My school would be all boarded up, the classroom still and dark. No, better yet, I'd knock it down and make a brand new park. If I were ruler of the world, everything would be just right. And this is what I think about as I drift off tonight. That poem was by Bill Dodds. The next poem I'm going to read is called Daydream. I'd like to drill the dentist's tooth and give the nurse a shot. I'd like to make the grown-ups eat the foods that they'd rather not. I'd make my teacher study math and take a real hard test, then send my mother to clean her room and yell, clean up that mess. And then when they ask me why they're not allowed to just say no, I put my hands up on my hips and say, 'cause I said so. That poem was by Joyce Armour. Next poem I will read is called Turn Off the TV. My father gets quite mad at me. My mother gets upset when they catch me watching our new television set. My father yells, turn off that thing. My mom says it's time to study. I'd rather watch my favorite TV show with my best buddy. I sneak down after homework and turn the set on low. But when she sees me watching it, my mother yells out, no. Dad says, if you don't turn it off, I'll hang it from a tree. I'd rather doubt he'll do it, 'cause he watches more than me. He watches sports all weekend, and all weekday evenings too, while munching chips and pretzels. The room looks like a zoo. So if he ever got the nerve to hang it from a tree, he'd spend a lot of time up there, watching it with me. That poem was by Bruce Lanksey. Next poem is called A Sliver of Liver by Lois Simi. Just a sliver of liver they want me to eat. It's good for my blood, they all say. They want me to eat just the tiniest sliver of yucky old, slimy old, slithery liver. I'm saying, no thanks, not today. No, I'll pass for tonight, but tomorrow I might. Simply beg for a slice of liver. Give me liver, I'll cry. I'll have liver or die. Oh, please cook me a sliver of liver. One piece might not do. I'll need two, or a few. I'll want tons of the wobbly stuff. Of that quivery, shivery, livery pile, there may not be nearly enough. Just a sliver, you say? No thanks, not today. Tomorrow I really can't say. But today I would sooner eat slivers of grass, eat the tail of a skunk washed down with gas, eat slivers of sidewalk and slivers of swings, slivers and slivers of any old thing, than a sliver of slimy old quivery shiver, livery liver today. Next poem I'll read is called Learning. I'm learning to say thank you. I'm learning to say please. I'm learning to use Kleenex, not my sweater when I sneeze. I'm learning not to dribble, and I'm learning not to slurp. And I'm learning, though it sometimes really hurts me, not to burp. And I'm learning how to chew softer, and when I eat on the corn on the cob, and I'm learning that it's so much easier to be a slob. That poem was by Judith Viordist. The next poem I'll read is called Who, Me? By Joyce Armour. There is a kid who lives with us, who no one's ever seen, the guy who broke our vase, and the painted fluffy green. He drew the funny pictures on my brother's bedroom door and left those worms to shrivel up inside the dresser drawer. He also took my favorite cookies from the cookie jar and put a tuna sandwich in the brand new VCR. In fact, he does most everything that you might think is bad. But of course, he isn't really. Just don't tell my mom or dad. The next poem I'll read is called My Mother Says I'm Sickening by Jack Prelutsky. My mother says I'm sickening. My mother says I'm crude. She says this when she sees me playing ping pong with my food. She doesn't seem to like it when I burp my bowl of stew. Now she's got a list of things she says I mustn't do. Do not catapult the carrots. Do not juggle globs of fat. Do not drop the mashed potatoes on the gerbil or on the cat. Never punch the pumpkin pudding. Never tunnel through the bread. Put no peas in your pocket. Place no noodles on your head. Do not squeeze the steamed zucchini. Do not make the melon ooze. Never stuff vanilla yogurt in your little sister's shoes. Draw no faces in the ketchup. Make no little gravy pools. I wish my mother wouldn't make so many useless rules. Now I will read Oliver's Parents in the Morning by Jeff Moss. Oliver's parents are very, very strict, and this is how strict they are in the morning. 1. When Oliver's radio alarm goes off, Oliver's parents say, Oliver, turn that rock music up as loud as it will go so it wakes the whole neighborhood. Otherwise, we will be very upset with you. 2. After breakfast, Oliver's parents say, Oliver, you'd better make sure you spill at least half of those sugar crumbles on the floor. Don't you dare clean them up either. 3. After breakfast, Oliver's parents say, Oliver, you must get dressed very, very slowly so the school bus has to honk a lot while it's waiting for you. Otherwise, you will get in deep trouble. Oliver's parents are very, very strict. Aren't you glad they're not yours? The next poem I'll read is also about Oliver, called Oliver's Parents at Bedtime, by the same author, Jeff Moss. Oliver's parents are very, very strict. This is how strict they are at bedtime. 1. At bedtime, Oliver's parents won't let Oliver change into his pajamas until they have said, Oliver, will you get into your pajamas at least 6 times? 2. After they tuck him in and say goodnight, Oliver's parents won't let him go to sleep until each of them comes out of their bedroom to bring him a glass of water. 3. When they have company, Oliver's parents say, Oliver, after we kiss you goodnight, you may not go to sleep. You must get up quietly and sneak downstairs to see what's happening at our party. Otherwise, you will get in deep trouble. Oliver's parents are very, very strict. Aren't you glad they're not yours? The next poem I'll read is called A Snake Named Rover by Maxine Jeffress. Mom wouldn't let me have a dog, with all the mess they make. If so, I couldn't have a dog. I said I'd like a snake. My mother gasped audibly, but Dad approved the plan. A snake, he gulped. A real live snake. Well, sure, I guess you can. We went to Rolf's Repulsive Pets and bought a yard of asp. It coiled inside my paper bag, held firmly in my grasp. I put him in a big glass tank and dubbed my new pet Rover, but all the fun of owning it was very quickly over. For all he did was flick his tongue, once or twice each minute, while nervous Mom rechecked the tank to make sure he wasn't in it. When one fine day, we don't know how, my Rover disappeared. My father told me not to fret, but Mom was mightily scared. We searched the house from front to back and gave the yard a sweep. By midnight, we had given up and tried to get some sleep. At 3 a.m., my dad arose to answer nature's call. I heard him scream, I heard him swear, and then I heard him fall. For Dad had found the wayward pet, and I'd given up for dead, curled inside his slipper, lying right beside his bed. Now Rover's back living at Ralph's, with frogs and newts and guppies, and now I have a dog named Spot, and she'll soon be having puppies. Yeah, you can stop it.